Welcome back. So today is going to be the start in a fairly long series of videos, which I'm going to detail the skills you should be developing as you are passing through the Savate ranks. Start from the top, so that's blue glove. Now, since we're starting at the top, you need certain very fundamental things, like the salutation, which thankfully for Savate is fairly simple. Body straight, feet are together, hands are at your side, right hand to the left side of my body, my hand goes straight out to the side, and then falls down. Simple, quick, easy salutation. Next thing is the stance. This is very important. Savate's not a bladed stance, it's not a super square stance. I want to make sure that I have a clear lead, one shoulder in front, one shoulder in the back. My feet are relatively close together. It is a shorter stance, it's not a longer, wider stance. My posture is tall, my heels are off the floor, my hands are high, and my elbows are low. It's sort of a midpoint between a traditional boxing stance and a Muay Thai stance if you come from either of those backgrounds. The Savate style stance is somewhere in the middle of those two things. Now, it's important to keep in mind, depending on your association, the curriculum in question may vary. So these are a few examples that are coming from the curriculum that I tested under. We're going to have 3 today. We're going to focus somewhat on the technique, but I also want to spend a lot of time getting into the skills you need to develop as you progress through these ranks, because it's not just about techniques, it's about the glue that keeps it all together. The first combination is going to be as follows. It's going to be a cross step, chassé bas, that being a cross step, low line side kick, and then transition into the fouetté médian. It's going to be your midline hook kick. So there are a couple of things that this focuses on that might not necessarily be totally apparent to a beginner. The 2 key points are the cross step, which is that, and then the level change as you transition from a low strike to a midline. Fundamental and fairly basic rule in Savate is if you are kicking on the low line, your support leg is going to be bent, whereas if you're kicking to the midline and the high line, your support leg is meant to be straight and fully extended. So we start with that chassé bas, step across, step behind, drive that kick low, making sure my support leg is bent. I then rechamber, straighten my leg, and extend that fouetté. So those are the 2 things you're going to want to focus on. The cross step, which is how I'm going to cover my distance, landing that low chassé, bending the support leg, rechambering, straightening the support leg, and then cleanly kicking the body. Making sure that, very importantly, as I go through my techniques, this rechambers and my leg is turned all the way over. The fouetté is not thrown upwards. It's a full round kick where I'm either going to be striking with the top of my shoe or my toes. That's why I want to get into more than just the techniques, because these are the things, transitions you need to mind. And if you're just starting out, you may focus on just the kicks, whereas everything in between is equally important. Example number 2 is going to be as follows. It's going to be a cross, jab, and then a lead leg fouetté médian. This time it's about focusing on your pivoting mechanics and also making sure that you are fully extending your strikes and respecting the distance as it changes. So you'll notice that this is going from the shortest tool to a longer one, and then ending with the longest strike of all. So I'm starting at a closer range, adjusting back, and then ever so slightly back a little bit more, so I'm not too close to my target as I'm stepping in. This is getting into that good upper body pivoting mechanics and the extension that's very important in Savate. If my leg is ending up bent, it means I'm not at the right distance, and I need to make sure after any of my punches, I'm able to fully extend my kick and again, land with the top of the foot or land with the toes. So again, it's that nice pivoting mechanics, turning it back the other way, then making sure that this kick comes up fluidly and is at the right distance. So for this one, we have our good solid pivoting mechanics and then understanding the transition between punching range and kicking range. That range in Savate is everything. If you are throwing strikes and too close, suddenly you're breaking the rules of the art, and you're missing one of the very important lessons it can teach you, which is how to smoothly flow through each of these distances and not end up landing too close and not being in the right distance to properly land on your target. All right, so the third and last example for this episode that I'm going to go over is the coup de pied bas, the striking variation, that being Savate's low slap kick, followed by a sidestep and a chasse bas. So now we're getting into another fundamental aspect of the art, which is using kicks to disguise movement and set up our angulation. This is a very basic example, but this is blue glove, so we're starting at the beginning after all. So, a few details on the coup. Something that I found helps me and helps my students is rather than keeping this foot straight, I want to open it ever so slightly so it's much easier for me to engage and extend this hip. So from here, I open, extend, and I land with this upper part of my shoe. From there, rather than returning directly to my stance, I kick and I step out towards the following direction. This is a very important aspect of the art, which is being able to not just strike, return to your stance, and then move. It aims to be far more efficient. So I'm kicking and moving off of that kick to get my angle. Because if I'm kicking, resetting, then trying to move, you just don't have all those seconds. So I make sure I kick, angle off, and follow up immediately. And once again, like I said earlier, low line kick, so after I angle out, chamber my knee up, and extend. My support leg is bent, while my kicking leg is nice and straight. One more time again, it's all about that movement off of the kick. About extending, stepping off, chambering high, delivering that nice, clean, low chasse. 3 examples from the Blue Glove curriculum that I would grade someone under, that I was graded under myself. And that's the idea, is you want to not just focus on the techniques that you're practicing or the techniques that you're being tested on, but all of the fundamental skills that come with it. So while you're preparing for testing, or you're first getting started and only just beginning your training, focus on all of those in-between movements. Focus on the details like bending your support leg for low line kicks, straightening it for midline, making sure that if I'm striking and angling, I'm not resetting first. Because that reset chews up too much time, and it's that very specific Savate flair of kicking, angling, and striking again. Keeping that footwork efficient, because we're disguising it with strikes rather than always needing to reset and then move. In any case, you're going to see more like these coming up. Questions, comments, please leave them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.